We welcome you to episode 11 of Battin and Chattin here on the Eastern Observer. Alongside Niklaus Feil, Denis Tuohy, I'm Brandon Natale. Now, before we get started, please hit the subscribe button on the YouTube button and to be kept on the loop of everything on Eastern Observer and most importantly, Battin and Chattin. Our show can be found on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Now, our show is presented to you by Black Cats NYC. Be sure to download their newest hit single, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, which can be found wherever music is found. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, and many others. Fellas, how you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Doing pretty good, Brandon. Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Doing good, honestly. The summer's been good. Life's been good. Living it up, going to, a ton of country concerts. I know you guys see my stories. I've been there.
Yeah. You've been a busy guy, Brandon.
Yeah.
Busy buddy.
Yeah, it's I like being busy. It's good to it's good to be busy sometimes, but it's also good to get rest too, and make sure you don't burn out. But it's also good to spend time. Besides the country concerts, it's good to spend time with friends and family and all that fun stuff. What about you guys? I'm sure summer's been pretty fun for you guys now, has it?
Yeah, it's been good. Doing a lot of fishing, crabbing, hanging out with the GF, just enjoying the nice weather when we do have it, when it's not cloudy or rainy or the air quality's not totally horrible. But it's been a good summer, man.
Yeah, I'm just kind of doing my thing.
That's it.
Hanging out with friends, whatnot.
We're still up for that. We're still up for that Mets Yankees thing, though, right? Tonight.
Yeah. Nick, are you working at night or?
Yeah, I'm working tonight, sadly. I know. Gotta link up with the boys soon. I definitely will, for sure.
I wish we would have went to one of the Subway Series games, though.
I know.
We'll definitely catch a game though soon. Definitely try to catch it with us soon, Nicholas.
Of course, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. So, there was something else I wanted to talk about before, but I can't find it because you know what? This is, it's not the, it's not the View. This is the Battin and Chattin here at Eastern Observer. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. So yeah, there's been a lot going on. The deadline's coming up soon this week. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get into that. Rob Manfred just signed an extension as MLB owners approve him. We'll get into that. The Yankees are still fighting for a playoff spot. Still a lot to talk about with them, but the Mets I feel like have more because of what's been going on with them. And but yeah, there's so much to talk about. So I figured let's start off with the Mets right away. So obviously, Verlander has not yet approved. He's not been approached about a trade, but there's also a decent chance that Verlander might decide to decline that trade since he has no trade clause. There's a good opportunity that he might not be able because Lori Albanese of Newsday says that Verlander would prefer to remain a Met as they suggested that he plans to be with the team beyond the season. Now, I forgot who I was watching, but Verlander, actually, no, I believe John Heyman kind of said it that, Verlander wants to stay with the Mets because of, wanting to build, a foundation like he did in Detroit, like he did in Houston. So, I'm for that, especially if the Mets get young pitchers over the next year. Who knows who they sign that he can be a mentor to them. Not like a Yoda type figure because obviously he's not built like Yoda. He's Justin Verlander. But, it's just the wisdom that Justin Verlander bestows as one of the best baseball pitchers to ever do it. Now, Verlander has gone 5 for 5 with a 3.24 ERA with a 1.14 WHIP and 76 strikeouts over 89 innings this season. Now, granted, he did miss the beginning of the season with that strain he had. Now, like I said, John Heyman did report that there was a decent chance. Just want to say that. Now, before all this came out, Verlander pitched the first game of the Mets-Yankees game, the Subway Series. Great win by the Mets, though. Hey, how about the Mets?
He was dealing. That's all I gotta say. He's an animal.
I won't even dignify that filth. I'm kidding. He's killed the Yankees. He's been in the league since 05, 06?
Yeah.
So he's killed the Yankees for almost 20 years.
It's just another day at the office. That's it.
Yeah. He pitched he had his best stuff as he pitched 6 scoreless innings, throwing 6 strikeouts. Now, the only issue I had with the Mets game yesterday was that, they walked 8 batters. Now, that is a lot. So, but either way, still managed to get the win. Pete Alonso went 3-4 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. He almost had a Carlos Delgado game, but that didn't happen. But yeah, that's basically it. So, what'd you guys make out of the? Well, first off, what is you guys' stance on Justin Verlander? Do you think it makes sense for the Mets to trade him, or do you think he's going to remain a Met?
My personal opinion on it, I think it can go either way. Look, the Mets are kind of, they're on the cusp a little bit of maybe getting an NL wild card spot. It wouldn't be crazy if they did trade him. I know San Francisco Giants were a rumor or whatever, but depend what they can get. You know what I mean? But if Verlander wants to stay in New York, that's where he wants to be. Hey, so be. When he's healthy, at the top of his game, he's one of the best guys in the league. I don't know if Kate Upton just wants to stay in New York or what. I don't know what's going on with that, but that might play a factor into it too. Look, maybe he gets something for Scherzer instead. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised he gets moved. I'm not going to be shocked he gets traded. I think the Mets are just right there in the middle of, are we selling? Are we buying or what? Are we keeping him? I think, just keep him at this point, honestly. It's not a bad move for the Mets on holding on to him.
Yeah, you know what it is I've kind of been saying the past couple of weeks that they need to trade Verlander or Scherzer. But at the same time, too, it does, the cliche of it takes 2 to tango. Somebody's got to take on that contract. And that, to me, is kind of what would probably hold back a deal from getting done, is that you got to, you got to take it on, man. So The only 2 teams I could see of probably, low payroll teams, not exactly great ERA, they need starting pitching, and are trying to make a playoff push, are the Cincinnati Reds. Their team ERA is 4.7. That is the fifth worst in the league, and 6th worst in the league is the Arizona Diamondbacks at 4.61 ERA. So that's probably something that those teams would want to address. The Reds have made it clear that they're willing and able to trade Jonathan India, and they're trying to find a spot for him, the 2021 National League Rookie of the Year. And they've also made it clear that they want young, controllable starting pitching. So I don't know where he would go or how that would fit into the Reds' plans or whatnot, or if they can make a deal out with them. Same thing with the Diamondbacks. I don't know what they'd be willing to deal or not. But those are the 2 teams, if I'm a Mets fan, I'm looking at right now, trying to figure out what they're going to go with, because none of the other teams that desperately need starting pitching, like Boston, maybe, they've kind of been shaky at times. But I don't know. I don't know really where their partner is going to be to get that deal done, especially for that kind of money that those guys are making, around $50 or $45 million, whatever it is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see indeed. Now, going on to the Yankees now, they're still fighting their way to a wild card spot. Now it seems that they're trending to be buyers now by the deadline. Now, what do you guys think they need to do if they want to still be in the wild card? Does it still make sense for them to still keep fighting, or are they going to sell now at this point? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's tough to say, but if none of us are, I'm no GM, but what I would do, I see a lot of Yankee fans on Twitter and stuff. They're saying, "Oh, we got to get all these guys, Soto, Ohtani." I think that's out of the question, making that big splash. I would like to make, maybe 1 or 2, low key kind of moves. I say low key, obviously Bellinger's a hot topic when it comes to the trade deadline this coming week. But I've been saying all year, I think Bellinger, if they can get a sign and trade for him, I think that's money. Because 1, he's a lefty bat. outfielder. And he's my boy. I love him. He's having a rough year, and he's not getting any younger. Bellinger could take over first base when Rizzo, his contract's up or whatever too. So, I mean, I think Bellinger's definitely still a good option, whether or not the Yankees are actually, a pretender or a contender in the coming weeks. Even if the season's shot, it's a lost season, still sign and extend Bellinger, man. I think this guy could develop a great relationship with Judge. He's still pretty young, 28, 27 years old. Like I said, lefty, outfield, first base. That's kind of 3 problems you got solved right there in one sign and trade. Yankees got a bunch of outfielders in the minor league system they can trade. So I think that's one move. And then I saw, just call up Austin Wells or Rortvedt again. I mean, I know with Trevino out for the year, maybe just make a move at catcher. Judge supposed to be back tomorrow, I just heard. That's huge news right there. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's all they really got to do. Just make that one low-key good move, and it's kind of a win-win situation.
Listen, we've been saying it now for 11 episodes that Bellinger should be a Yankee, or at least Nick has. It took me a little longer to get there. But now he's kind of proven to me that this wasn't a fluke the first couple of months of the season. In the month of July so far, he's had 7 home runs, 22 RBIs. And not only that, he's a former Gold Glover. He can play all 3 outfield positions very well. He can play first base very well. Former Gold Glover. And the Yankees are 18th in outs above average for their outfield this season. So, they're not a great defensive team, and that's holding them back. Listen, the Yankees have a lot of problems. Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
But Bellinger, he can at least solve some of them. I don't know what they would be, what would be off limits for the Yankees to give up, but I don't know. Bellinger is definitely one of the hottest names out there right now for the trade deadline. Expiring contract. The Cubs, even though they're on a 4-game winning streak, come on, they're not exactly going anywhere. And they should probably move their assets. And the San Francisco Giants have been connected to him, and the Yankees and a few other teams. We'll see. I want him to go to the Yankees, obviously. It's about time we have a real left fielder, like somebody who actually knows how to play outfield out there, and not somebody that they just kind of hide as a spot. It's like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? Billy McKinney's good. I'm not trying to hate on Billy McKinney.
Yeah, no.
And I'm not trying to hate on, like, Bowers. He's had good moments and whatnot, but, like, you're bringing in you let's be honest, you're bringing in a legit player, a former league MVP.
Yes.
This
is a big bet. And, I saw something online on Twitter. Since 2021, the Yankees have had 20 different left fielders at the position. Let's get a stable guy there. Not to, totally be nostalgic, but you go back to 2009 when the Yankees last won the World Series. Same lineup pretty much every day, just 1 ball games. Let's get a consistent guy in left field in Bellinger. Got him, Bader, Judge, all when healthy. Disgusting in the outfield. Defense is crazy. So I'm still on the Bellinger train, even if we lose out the rest of the week. Just do a sign and trade. That's it.
Okay. Sign and trade.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger is definitely one of the main players on the move.
Oh, yeah.
Because he definitely has had a resurgence in his career. It's been he's had a couple decent years. I know it's been, but I feel like the Cubs is where he's, kind of blossomed. I don't know if the Cubs signed him knowing that he could be a trade deadline piece. It's good for them. I mean, saw it with Chapman and the Royals.
They definitely did.
Right.
They definitely did. There was a pump and dump. So what? 1 year, $18 million was his contract. $16 million.
It's not bad.
Like
I mean, consider what's going on with Marcus Stroman. I mean, I don't think he intended that he was going to be a trade deadline piece.
No, I don't think so either. And I also don't think the Cubs predicted he'd pitch this good.
Yep.
So, but they haven't extended him for some reason. He's been their best player this season. Well, maybe Bellinger's been a bit better, but Stroman, Bellinger had some injuries. But I don't really know what they're doing over there, to be honest. The Cubs.
They're all hanging out with Ferris Bueller. And, probably a lot of other movie references I can't think of right now. That's the first one. I think Chicago. That's the first one.
Yeah.
I know this ain't no movie show. This is the Battin and Chattin, but hopefully we'll see what goes on in Chicago. But so I guess swing right over to the majors. Now MLB owners now have approved, given an extension to they voted to extend Commissioner Rob Manfred. Now I guess I got to ask, what does this mean for the MLB world, and did this make sense? Because I know Rob Manfred's kind of a questionable figure. I feel like every commissioner is kind of questionable in every sport, but Rob Manfred has kind of been in the heat for over the past couple of years.
Dennis, you want to take us away here?
Here's the thing that I'm going to get out early, and a lot of people need to hear it. The commissioners, Gary Bettman with the NHL, Goodell for the NFL, Silver for the NBA, and Manfred for the MLB. They are not the servants of the fans. As much as we want them to be, they aren't. They are not the servants to the players. They serve the owners. Their job is to do what's best for the owners. Therefore, as long as the league is making money, and if you look at the attendance around the league this year, you got to resign him. And now we could question a lot of the decisions. He called the trophy a piece of metal. I thought that was completely blown out of proportion at the time. I'm not trying to defend him. I thought the only Astro player to get any kind of repercussion at all is Carlos Beltran. Is freaking ridiculous. That they just scapegoated the guy because he retired. That's absurd to me. But overall, like, as bad as he's been, the pitch clock's been great. Getting rid of the shift has been great. The league is trending up, and do you really want to change a horse mid-stride? Midstream? I don't think you want to. I do think, however, they need to amend the extra inning rule. I think the ghost runner, I think you should – people are saying, I'm guessing you're getting rid of it entirely. After the 12th inning, 13th inning and on, ghost runner. 10th, 11th, 12th, everybody gets one more at-bat, and then the ghost runner. Kind of like a shootout. Like in hockey where you have the overtime period and then the shootout.
Exactly.
And then in the playoffs, obviously,
it transgresses into something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not against that either. Sorry.
People talk about, the epic games, like that 18-inning Braves-Mets game from 45 years ago. And we keep talking about that one because there haven't been any since. It is ridiculous. Like a 9-hour game. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So I get it, but that's the one that I really kind of want them to improve in. And honestly, if I was the commissioner, allow amateur draft picks to be traded.
Yes, exactly.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, I saw people making fun of Colin Cowherd from Fox Sports because his co-host Jason McIntyre and him were talking about Ohtani trades, and they're talking about throwing in draft picks, and people are like, you can't even trade draft picks in baseball. It's like, you can trade Rule 5 picks, but you should be able to trade amateur draft picks.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Then it would make things like this upcoming week, a lot more exciting too. More deals could go down, which would gain more fan traction.
Dude, they've been whining and complaining about big market teams for 100 years. That's the equalizer.
Exactly.
If I'm the Yankees, what the hell do I need a draft pick for? I'm just going to buy championships anyway, right?
Exactly.
I don't know. It works in every other professional sports league.
You
tell me. Nick, what do you think?
I like that.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, again, I was on Twitter all this morning. The last couple of days on the sports world's been crazy with the Saquon deal, Bergeron retiring, and now this. So I've been on Twitter a lot, and I've been seeing a lot of baseball fans now.
Bergeron retired?
Bergeron retired.
When did that happen?
Yesterday.
How'd you know that? And I didn't know that. I mean, how did I know that and you didn't?
I didn't see it. I was working basically all day yesterday.
Bergeron retired,
I even know who Pat Bergeron.
No, I know who Patrice Bergeron is. I just didn't know he retired, especially after that season. Oh my god!
I know.
I didn't know he was in the league for 19 years in the hockey.
Since 03. Yeah,
he was still like balling out.
Wow.
Yeah. Whatever.
That's two-way player. Yeah, this isn't puck and luck. This is a bad and set. But
Are you
No,
teasing
but
that? Are you teasing a spinoff?
maybe.
But continue.
But yeah. So I've been on Twitter like crazy. I see a lot of baseball fans talking about this news. They're so upset. And look, I'm not the biggest Rob Manfred fan either. Like, there's a lot of stuff I disagree with. Like I just said, get rid of the ghost runner. That I think that's the stupidest rule ever. I hate it from the start. Pitch clock grew on me a lot. Seeing it in person, watching it in games. I do like the pitch clock. Don't hate it. Love the bigger bases. Manfred is definitely trending the game towards a good direction, a right direction.
Right.
Attendance is up. There was just a stat about
yeah.
that. Attendance is just trending up. Yeah, I mean, look, Dennis, you said it perfectly, man. It's like he's the owner's guy. He's putting money in their pockets. There's no point in changing. I'm not surprised he got extended, but hey, look, if we can get rid of the ghost runner rule, get rid of that, maybe. Yeah, I think we're smooth sailing. I mean, there's really nothing else I can really complain about. I'm more for getting rid of the ghost runner entirely, but 12th inning, 13th inning added in, I'm not against that. That makes sense. No one wants to sit at a ballpark for a whole work shift, 8 hours, 7 hours, just blister in the sun. So I get it. Okay. But yeah, it's gonna be a good direction for Major League Baseball. I think this year's been great. It's been fun to watch. More stolen bases, offense is clicking. I don't know. I'm not too upset about it.
Yeah, I definitely. First off, if you hear that, I don't know if I know Dennis got. I don't know if you heard that banging. It looked like because my dad's actually outside doing some work around the house. So, it looked like he turned around, like he heard.
Oh no! I turned around because I noticed something on. I have MLB Network on. I have breaking news from baseball.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, we will shoot that soon. Let me just get my take. I know. I definitely agree. Yeah, the game has definitely been turning up. Turning up in terms of attendance and popularity. It's crazy. A lot of people thought baseball was dying, even though the sport was doing really good, but obviously not as well as football or basketball were doing in the past couple of years. But I feel like last year and this year, it kind of definitely went skyrocketing. You just see the chart, like picture the chart. It's insane. I don't know if maybe not saying COVID had anything to do with it, but I think maybe after COVID, people saw what was going on. Obviously, people watching baseball, and then I think the next year, as people weren't going to games as much, so I appreciate be able to go to events more, especially with baseball or with football. People are just enjoying sports more. Like I said, I'm not trying to bring COVID into it, but I think after COVID, you definitely saw the rise in baseball, whether it's seeing the Astros, that Yankees Astros rivalry, or seeing Shohei, or even seeing the Mets have their resurgence. I think people are just appreciating sports more. But I think Rob Manfred definitely did a good job in terms of bringing the attendance up. I like the pitch clock. I mean, a lot of people have their doubts about it because they think that it ruins the ethics and integrity of the game. But I don't have a problem with it. I like the ghost runner rule you guys by proposing, 13th inning, bring it on. We'll see, just so the game doesn't go past 20 innings because people got to wake up at 6 a.m. for work.
Yeah.
But if the owners are fine with it, then yeah, I definitely think it's definitely. I don't have no problem. I mean, like I said, of course, I like what Dennis said. They're not there for the fans; they're there for the owners and then the owners, I guess, are kind of for the fans. That makes any sense. But now we got some breaking news. Dennis, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so the Astros are reinstating every Yankee fan's favorite player, Jose Altuve, off the injured list, and not only him, but designated hitter and outfielder and perennial MVP candidate, Yordan Alvarez, who hasn't played for them since May and has crippled my fantasy baseball teams. As I'm just, I'm basically drowning right now in one of my leagues. And this is a shot in the arm. Hopefully the New York Mambas need to get back on top. But yeah, man, this is huge for them.
Oh, yeah.
This is huge for them, man. I was just talking about it the other night with a buddy of mine who's Astros fan, I was talking about the moves they need to make, and one game behind. If I said that they're going to be one game behind the Texas Rangers without Yordan Alvarez, without Michael Brantley, without Lance McCullers, Altuve has even played 30 games this year. I'll look it up right now. It seems like he's been hurt just about the entire season, one thing after another. Man, and that's before the deadline. That's before they start really making moves. He played 32 games. Nice. I was almost there with it.
Yeah.
Listen, this is, I mean, they're like the new evil empire. They're just unbeatable.
Yeah.
They're unbeatable. They just call up guys, every single dude just timely hitting. They just find a way. And now they're getting these two big guns back, man.
Perennial, just juggernaut offensive beast, dude. And look, I mean, when Chas McCormick is balling out for you too, man, he's like carrying you guys to a division title, man. It's insane. And then you're getting those two guys back. Kyle Tucker has been unreal. He's batting 305, 18 bombs. Bregman's Bregman. You know, he's one of the top third basemen in the league. The slash line might not totally show it, but he's slugging 421, OPS plus of 112, above average. Now you get Alvarez and Altuve back. Rest of the league, man, they're in trouble. That's it. The pitching says enough for themselves, too. It's going to be scary, scary, scary in the American League West, for sure. I also got some breaking news of my own. I kind of mentioned it briefly just before talking about the Yankees. Aaron Judge coming back Friday. Talking about
I know we mentioned that earlier.
Returns. Yeah, Judge is coming back Friday officially against Baltimore. So if the Yankees needed that, oh my God, that's it right there. They need something.
Yeah,
that's it right there. Jesus, and I hate that they have to really rely on one guy, him and Garrett Cole. But like on the offensive side of things, geez, I mean, they need him now more than ever. But yeah, so we got some all-stars. We got some faces of the league coming back. Great for the game. Good to see.
Yeah, definitely good to see. It's always good for the Yankees when they have Aaron Judge back in that lineup. You hear Pop Smoke going on Yankee Stadium. See Big 99 coming up to the plate. That's for the Yankees side. I know that Yankees lineup is desperately needing superstar power like Aaron Judge back in that lineup. I know you guys could fill in the whole hour with that.
Oh
yeah. So now obviously Kike Hernandez was just traded to the Dodgers. Now, why does this move make sense for both teams?
Well, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They got to win championships, right? That's their plan. That's their thing. And listen, man, they've had a lot of injuries this year. I don't really think Miguel Rojas has been quite what they had wanted. I think they expected him to be a little better than he has been. And they've just kind of tried a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And, there's things that they gotta shore up on. And Kike Hernandez can play just about any position. We know that. And, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He's also a guy that's been there before, knows the team, knows the field, knows the locker room, knows this core. So, yeah, we'll see. He hasn't – I have to apologize. I misspoke. He actually hasn't had the kind of season I thought he has. He's a negative 0.7 wins above replacement.
You're talking about Hernandez?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, look, I mean, change of scenery too. I mean, I know he's been there before. He's won a championship there before. Just that locker room presence alone can maybe, give a boost to his bat a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, look, I think the Red Sox know they're kind of like, I guess in a similar position as the Mets a little bit too. Like they're kind of in the hunt, but like maybe unload some of these older guys too, get some pitching prospects back. Like you said earlier in the show, Boston's pitching has been, kind of suspect, roller coaster ride. So they got some pitching prospects for him. I mean, makes sense for both teams for sure. But we'll see what Hernandez can do back in LA. He had a pretty nice career there in LA. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. From what I've read, it seems like Hernandez is going to be used as like a left-handed specialist kind of role, like against lefties. He's hit 222 against righties just total this season, but 260 against lefties. So that seems to be what they're going to do. They're going to use him mostly as a second base and center fielder with some minutes over at short per Alton Gonzalez of ESPN.
Nice.
Okay. Now the Cody Bellinger obviously on the move. I don't know if we discussed it earlier in the show, but what do you got after all is said and done? Where do you see him going?
It's tough because he is a hot comedy at this trade deadline. Anyone can pretty
He's
much
very
use
hot,
him.
yes.
I mean, yeah, like
hot trade crowd. He's a
it
very hot
really,
trade
you
crowd.
know, obviously it's pretty much whoever's going to pay top dollar. You know, who shoots the best offer. I really do think, homerism aside, I really do think the Yankees could string together a great offer to Chicago, and there's really no excuse not to, especially, if they're not going to call up half these guys for a while. So make a splash, do something. I feel like if you're really hungry to make that wild card spot, far-fetched at the division title, you got to make a move like that. But Miami makes sense. They're on a little skid right now. So maybe, hey,
Okay.
let's make a trade. Let's make a move here. Let's get the, more positive energy, better vibes get coming back. We were balling out a couple of weeks ago. Let's make a move. Let's do something here. Yeah, so I could definitely see Miami too. Makes sense. I'm sure they got a bunch of prospects they can offer Chicago. So
I feel like Miami is a team that's like been on. I know Dennis could. I know Dennis could can go off. I know he's ready to right now. I know Dennis's new favorite team now, besides the Yankees, is the Miami Marlins. I feel like they're a team that's on the rise.
Yeah, like it's one of those. They're like a pitching factory. They have a lot of those kind of utility gadget players that you always just see get dealt. So when you have that kind of surplus, why not? It's kind of like how I've been looking at it for them. They're a team that for some reason they just don't do free agency. They just don't do off seasons. I don't know why. So they've won 2 championships in their history. One in 97, one in 03. Both years they went all in. Let's see if they can do it again this year. Let's not forget, even though it was a shortened season, 2020, they did make the playoffs for the 3rd time in their franchise's history. Sandy Alcantara just pitched a complete game today against the Rays, and they got the win. So they have potential. I could see them making a move for Bellinger, but listen, I don't want to sound like a homer, and maybe I'm speaking it into fruition or trying to at least. I think Bellinger's going to the Yankees because I think the Yankees can't afford to not have him at pinstripes.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You can't miss the playoffs.
No.
You can't miss the playoffs.
Especially with this roster. You cannot.
Exactly. Especially this roster, especially this payroll, Nick.
Yeah, as I said, the money you spent this offseason and the money you're spending right now, you got to make it. You got to do something. It's like I said about the Marlins, The Marlins were hitting a little skid. They're 1-9 their last 10, last I checked, before the game today. But, Yankees got to make a move like that and maybe just do something to the clubhouse, like put a fire under everybody's butts, just like, hey, now we're making a deal, no one's job is safe pretty much, like make a culture change a little bit in the locker room, make a big deal, make a big splash, make teams afraid of you. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, the Yankees lost in the ALCS last year to an obviously better team that we had no chance at beating, and people were calling for our general manager and our manager to be fired.
They're still calling for the general manager to be fired.
Oh, yeah. And they have for freaking 20 years.
Yep.
And when it comes time for it's you and your job or you and out of a job, usually general managers pull the trigger.
Yep.
So we'll see. I still can't get over last week. I was like ripping them because there were reports that they're looking at getting a catcher. Like that should be very low on our priority. Right?
Yeah, no.
First of all, we need an outfielder.
And we got Wells and Rutherford just rotting in the minor leagues.
And
Like,
Wordfett was called up yesterday.
yeah,
And he got an RBI.
He's good. He's got good stuff.
Yeah, well, I would like to see them actually play a freaking prospect for once.
Exactly.
Because that's the problem with the Yankees. They call up a guy, they'll play him for a week, then they'll send him down, then they'll call him up for a week, then they'll send him down, then they'll call him. Let's see if the guy is good. Remember Devin Garcia?
Yep, Devin Garcia. Yep.
Dude, they toyed around with that guy.
Bring him for one spot start, then you don't see him for 6 months.
Not only that, Miguel Andujar.
Yep.
Dude, we missed the boat on selling high on Miguel Andujar like 19 times.
Yep.
Because they just wouldn't freaking play him. Same thing, Estevan Florial. This dude rakes in the minors. He's freaking Ted Williams in the minors. And we just don't play him in the majors. Granted, he struggled when he has played, but let's see what the dude has.
Yeah, you got to give him consistent at-bats.
Every single day I turn on the Yankee game. As you alluded to earlier, Nick, it's a different lineup every day.
Yeah.
And it's not just it's not just on Boone like people are saying, like people accuse him of. It's this whole analytics crap that the Yankees are doing now. And, like, let's see what we can actually do.
Yeah.
Or trade these guys.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Now, this came up when I saw this when I was scrolling through the internet. Now, obviously, Mookie Betts got traded to the Dodgers before the 2020 COVID season started. And I believe he said that he really wanted to finish his career as a Red Sox. But I gotta ask, did it make sense for both sides to move on when they did, or why did that trade happen?
That was stupid, and there's not really an answer for it.
Dodgers fleeced him, and I love Verdugo. I love Verdugo. I think he's a great player, but he's no Mookie Betts. Mookie. Yeah, Mookie is, man. Like, as a Yankee fan, I was so happy when that trade went down. I was beyond ecstatic. It was awesome. And, and I don't blame Mookie for saying stuff like, oh, I've always wanted to be a career Red Sox. You're joining Ted Williams, Yastrzemski, Ortiz, Ramirez, all these legends.
Dustin Pedroia, Jim Rice.
Pedroia, exactly, yeah. It's an historic franchise. Fenway Park, it's iconic. Not that the Dodgers aren't, but, I don't know what the Red Sox are doing that day. I don't know what was going through their heads. I know they were going through a little rebuild or whatever, but man, I don't think you trade Mookie Betts. That's insane. But the Dodgers made out great. Won a World Series immediately with him. He's a year in, year out MVP candidate. I'm glad he's out of the American League East. That's all I know. I'm glad he's out of there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's a legendary player. He's on the Mount Rushmore of current outfielders today, man. I don't know. The Red Sox, they totally fumbled the bag with that.
For the Dodgers, you make that trade 100 out of 100 times. For the Red Sox, you should make that trade 0 out of 100 times.
No,
I don't understand. You're the Red Sox, bro. Yeah. It's like I was saying earlier. If you're a big market team, play like a big market team.
Yep.
If people are gonna whine about how you buy championships, so what? These guys are all billionaires. They can do the same thing.
Exactly.
They can afford Mookie Betts. Okay. That was ridiculous. Then they traded. They got rid of Xander Bogaerts too. It's what are you doing, man?
And I know he's not.
As a Yankee fan, thank you. I should buy a Red Sox hat. You're helping me here.
Yeah, seriously.
And Yoshida's been good, and that was a good move for them. But come on, it's like ridiculous. It really is. It was. I remember being in the library at my school when that news broke.
No.
At SUNY College at Old Westbury. Now SUNY University at Old Westbury. And I remember sitting there like, what did I just see?
Yep.
And, seeing on ESPN Jeff Passan talking about it and all the talking heads, and nobody seemed to understand. Like, this was just a dumb trade. It was a dumb trade. And I'll never forget, and I understand they cheated. And listen, the Red Sox had a really good run in 21, mostly due to Kike Hernandez.
Yep.
I'll never forget that 2018 Red Sox team. That was the best sports team I've ever seen.
Yeah,
they were unbeatable.
It was a well-oiled machine.
They were.
Really? You think so?
I understand they cheated. I don't care. I was mad when they cheated because I felt like, dude, I got conned into like kind of rooting for the Red Sox for a bit, just because I
Wow.
appreciated like, dude, when you're seeing something like that, when this team has zero flaws, the bullpen's great, the starting pitching's great, hitting, defense, a flawless team top to bottom, you got to root for the history of it. That's just kind of how I always look at it. And listen, like, not like I'm a front runner, like, oh, I'm going to buy Steve Pierce jersey. But like what I'm saying is, like,
Right.
I wasn't
I know what you
mad.
mean. All right.
Like, I wasn't mad when they beat the Yankees. I'm like, that's an all timer. You know, like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you can't get upset about that. It's
Benintendi,
You can't get upset at greatness. For instance, when the Nationals won in 19, I never would have thought they would do it. I hated the Nationals. I don't have as much hatred as I did back then from like 2015 to now. I respect them. I don't like them, but I respect them. I remember that I saw them like 3 times that year. One of the games I saw was when Todd Frazier hit that, tied it, and then Conforto walked it off. Great game, great atmosphere. One of the best games I ever went to. But like I said, I never would have thought they would win it. And so when they had that playoff run, they made the wild card. They beat the Brewers the way they did. Scoring off of Josh Hader. They upset the Dodgers in Game 5.
Humiliated the Cardinals.
It was the Cardinals, right?
Cardinals.
In the NLCS. And then the World Series,
they sucked.
yeah.
Like they owned the Cardinals.
They owned them, yeah. And
old
they also
just turned back the clock and said 7 innings, no hit. What's up?
And they also own the trash can, supposed trash cans that was going on down in Houston. Sorry, Josh, if you ever see this. So, and the way they did it, both teams in the World Series that year, they won at each, opposing stadium. Like the Nationals took 2 in Minute Maid Park. Astros took 3, and everyone thought the Astros were going to win it, but then the Nationals came back and they were like, "No, we got this." And I remember sitting here in my room. I watched the last pitch, and I remember I had that moment where I sat down and I was like, "Wow, like I'm witnessing greatness." So I see what you mean, Dennis, when you said the Red Sox, like you felt that about the 2018 Red Sox. That's how I felt about the 2019, Washington Nationals, because the way they did it, Bryce Harper left the year before.
Yeah.
They were a wild card team. They just were a great team combined, and they finally, if that was the year for them to do it, that was the year for them to do it. They weren't going to make it the next year or the year after that, because obviously the year they had last year, forget about it.
Certain ominidity to it too. Wow, great Scrabble word. Where like you knew Strasburg always had injury concerns. Ryan Zimmerman was getting old. You knew his time was coming. You knew Scherzer, obviously he's pitched great since, but you knew his time was coming too. Jan Gomes wasn't getting any younger. Howie Kendrick wasn't getting any younger. Kendrick Morales. A lot of those guys were older veteran players, and you still had the juxtaposition between that and Juan Soto and Trey Turner and some of the younger guys. And Anthony Rendon was walking, and he was an MVP candidate. Just so much went into it. And I'll never forget, I always bring it up anytime that team is mentioned, that Kurt Suzuki game against the Mets, the Grand Slam. I don't think I can remember a regular season game more vividly. It's to the point where like I've made jokes about it on not really this show, but my college radio show, where I would say like a team has like a Kurt Suzuki game where like their season turns around because it saved them. It saved their season. I don't know the before after wins losses, but I remember they got hot right after that game when he hit that grand slam against the Mets. They blew like a 9-0 lead or 9-3 lead.
I believe it was 11-4.
Oh,
it was 11-4 in the
And it was incredible. And yeah, you just kind of got to root for the greatness. And circling back to the Red Sox, that 2018 team, they blew it up. Yeah. 19 they didn't win, and then they got rid of Mookie Betts and Rafael Devers, and you still had Xander Bogaerts. They should have been what the Astros are.
Yeah,
they should have been what the Astros are.
I was just about to say that. I'm looking at the 2019, 2020 Red Sox now. How do you get rid of Mookie? how do you separate him from a 22-year-old Rafael Devers? How do you not have that tandem stay? Well, a supporting cast of Bogarts, Benintendi. I know he's a little bit older than these guys, but JD Martinez, who's still raking this year, even too.
Yeah.
How do you blow all that up? They should have done what the Braves are doing. Ink all these guys to the deals and stuff, man. They could do it. It's insane. As a Yankee fan, I'm not complaining. I love it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I love it.
Listen, and I don't want to sound like, the Yankee fan who's always talking about the 90s dynasty. It's why I think the Yankees 90s dynasty is the best dynasty in sports ever. It's because they should not have done what they did. If you look at the history of the sport, that team, no team won before or after it in that era. Just constant three-peat. No, we'll do a four-peat. What? No. Just one thing after another with that Yankees dynasty. And a big reason it stayed the way it was here's our five guys. Bernie, Pettit actually walked to go to Houston at one point, and he came back. But then you had Mo, you had Posada, you had Jeter. All right, Pettit's going to go. We'll bring in A-Rod.
Yep.
Just constantly making moves. You don't want Darryl Strawberry? All right, we'll take him.
Yeah.
He'll be our veteran presence. And I think one of the moves that was indicative of that, and if you're trying to be a dynasty, I think is one of the most iconic moves that doesn't really get talked about, is the Yankees trading for Jose Canseco specifically so Boston wouldn't get him.
Yep.
And they only played him against teams that were in the playoff hunt. That's the only time they played him, was just to say F you to those teams.
Exactly.
And Joe Torre, according to Jose Canseco, told him that when he first got traded there. He sat him down and said, you're not going to be playing. You're only going to be playing against certain teams when we rest our guys. And when you play, I hope you play. And obviously there's that iconic, 400-foot bomb he hit.
Yeah.
But if you're a dynasty, you got to play like one. You can't have a heart. It is the way it is. You gotta be ruthless. You gotta put your foot on the gas. It's why the Patriots dominated football for so long. It's why the Spurs put the fear of God in the NBA for 20 years.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do. So that Mookie Betts trade, man. Oh my God. That was the dumbest thing.
Brutal.
And listen, Boston, once again, they had that good year in 21. Then they let Schwarber walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Chaim Bloom is a nice guy. I'll leave it at that. He's certainly no Theo.
Definitely not.
He's not Teddy Epstein.
Nah. But all right, so I guess that settles that. That was definitely a good take, the Mookie Betts thing. That was really good, I have to say. Now the Reds rookie Andrew Abbott have continued. He's continued to dazzle as he's sports a 1.9 ERA. Now, what stuff does he have that is making him shine better than when Tommy did? When he shined shoes in Goodfellas. So I had to do that.
And the kid's just a strikeout machine, man. He's a beast, dude. If you're really thinking about it, is it crazy to say NL Rookie of the Year right now? Look, 6-2, 190 ERA and 61 innings pitched, 66 strikeouts to 19 walks. He's got a WHIP of 0.957, strikeout per 9.6. He's on that nice young up and coming Reds team, man. I know a lot of people are talking about Ellie De La Cruz for a bit. He kind of cooled off for a little bit in recent weeks. Still on season now. I expect him to get back on his electric flow. But man, I'm loving this kid. Young lefty, 24 years old. He just came to the league and just starts dominating right out the gate, man. I'm loving that ERA. Loving that whip, dude.
Yeah, and he doesn't really have blow-away stuff either.
No.
I'm just looking at some of his past games. Against the Brewers, he had 2 strikeouts in the first inning. One of them was on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball that was a strikeout looking to Willie Adames. It dotted the corner. And then he had struck out Monastero swinging on an 80-mile-an-hour curveball that was kind of middle of the plate but a little off. And just, that's just what it is. 93-mile-an-hour fastball, struck out swinging, just control.
Yeah.
And listen, man, like when you can blow a lot of guys away with stuff, but if you're a really dominant control pitcher, ask Zach Greinke how his career has panned out. Ask Greg Maddux how his career has panned out. They weren't always throwing 101 like the Kershaws and the DeGroms and the Randy Johnsons and the Nolan Ryans. Like, that's a different kind of method. But if you're a control pitcher, it could really make it a tough day for a guy.
Oh, yeah.
For an opposing lineup. Knowing pitch sequencing, how to set guys up, what's the umpire giving you one way or another, placating to that. And, shout out to his catchers, man. Shout out to his catchers. When you have those kinds of days, a lot of that's on them too. They call the shots, so to speak. And Luke Mailey's done a terrific job with him. And we said earlier that their pitching staff hasn't been good, right? A 4.71 ERA on the season.
Yep.
5th worst in the league. They need a guy like this to step up, and step up he has. So, will he win the Rookie of the Year? I don't know. I think so. Ellie De La Cruz is definitely going to be the fan vote if there was one. And maybe Corbin Carroll. But, this dude's a baller, man.
He's beasting.
Definitely right. All right, good stuff right there. Now, the Rays want to trade Lance Lynn. Now, is he fit for that rotation? I have to ask you guys.
Course.
Okay.
Dude, if you could throw a baseball, you could pitch for the Rays.
Okay.
Yeah. And Lance Lynn, I mean, look, just earlier this season, he had a 16 strikeout game. And look, you look at his career. I mean, a lot of people give him flack. Oh, he's leading the league in earned runs or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. It's a little inflated. Like, I think Lance Lynn is, the right situation, man. This guy can give you quality innings, dude. High strikeout guy. The Rays are dealing with all those injuries, man. Jeffrey Springs out for the year. Drew Rasmussen out for the year. I hate to say it, Tyler Glass now. I mean, look, that guy is one injury away from hanging him up. McClanahan's back now, right? Or is he?
I don't even know. Every time I check on the Rays, somebody else is hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt. Like we were just talking about earlier, Zach Eflin. He's dealing with some stuff. God, yeah, man. I mean, look, Lance on the Rays, like we were just talking about, the Dodgers, the Rays, they just churn out these awesome starting pitchers. They know what they're doing down there. So I think if any starting pitcher goes to Tampa Bay, they're automatically becoming a beast, man.
Okay.
Just
I was talking about it today with Dennis. What do you guys say?
For those of you who haven't seen earlier today, Zach Eflin left the game early against the Marlins with some discomfort. He's leading the league in wins, American League in wins, with 11. He's got 11-5 record on the season, which is already a career high in wins. 3.36 ERA, 112 innings pitched. He's got 113 strikeouts, 16 walks. How about that? The league best .988 WHIP. I mean, that's a big loss. ERA plus 122. So he's about 22% better than league average. That's a big loss. That's a huge loss. And now the Rays are playing behind the Orioles, who have jumped them in the standings and are now 2 games ahead of them. So you got to get back in the mix somehow. If you're pitching, for some reason, the Rays, every dude that pitches for them is a baller, but every dude that pitches for them is made of glass.
I know.
There's got to be something going on there, all in, all out. I don't know. But Lance Lynn, dude's an innings eater. I mean, he just is what he is. Like, he's good he'll give you 7 innings a night, good, bad, or ugly. And that is the way it is.
Okay.
listen, that's a perfect fit for them. And the White Sox should probably sell off some of their guys. This makes sense.
I also heard the Dodgers were in on Lance Lynn and Giolito, both White Sox starters. So that's definitely
Those
something to keep an
Dodgers are
eye
always
on as well.
buying. There always seems to be buying.
Oh, they buyers galore, man. They're just
If I had that
contenders.
payroll with that farm system, psh, good luck. I'd be buying everybody.
Exactly.
There you go.
Jesus
Hopefully that
Christ.
could be the Mets in a couple of years when they get a farm system.
Yeah.
I mean, with the payroll. I mean, when Uncle Steve under ownership. Might be wrong,
Yeah.
or am I wrong, or
No, I don't think you're wrong.
See,
it's a possibility. I'm not saying because the Mets need to develop more of a farm system. They have some decent pieces down there, but I mean, not enough to where, if they want to build young like the Braves, they need to, possibly sell, or we'll see. Honestly, when all said and done, I guess let's make some predictions, right? Actually, no, hold on. Before we get to that, I gotta ask, what's going on with the Tampa Bay Rays? I feel like they're a team that no one has been talking about for a while. Now the Baltimore Orioles are back in first place, or in first place now. What's going on with that?
their offense has just cooled off drastically.
They were off
Offense,
to one of the hottest starts in baseball history.
Yeah, dude, literally the most.
Yep.
And I don't know, injuries, which once again with the Rays, you could always kind of pencil in. But not only that, but the offense is cooled off, man. Suddenly Brandon Lau and Brett Phillips, whoever it is out there now, I always get those two confused.
Yeah.
They're not getting what they once were. I don't know how my boy Randy's doing or how Wander is doing, but they've just cooled off, man. They've cooled off, and the Orioles have done the opposite. They've just been red hot.
Yeah, and
Their kids are balling out. That bullpen is nasty. Yanier Cano and Felix Bautista, just studs. So.
yeah, I'm looking at the Rays, their main lineup or whatever, and Josh Slaugh's cooled off tremendously. I think he was batting like 300 at one point. He's batting 271. Wander's dipping down. He's batting 264. He's struggling a little bit. On base percent of 328. That's dipped. They only have one 300 hitter right now, everyday player, and it's Yandy Diaz still batting 318. Brandon Lau's having he's having a good power year, but he's only batting 214, 311 on base percentage. Yeah, offense definitely cooled off, and I think the injuries are just catching up to, you lose two guys in your rotation. Now, well, technically four now. Springs, Rasmussen, McClanahan was out for a while. Now Eflin left the game today, discomfort. Glass now, it's in the name, Glass. I mean, it's not to be mean, but I mean, it's only a matter of time. I mean, I think things are just not going well for him. So I definitely see a few moves being made, whether it's Lance Lynn. I remember you had that pretty hot take about Ohtani or Soto going to Tampa Bay. They could come out, like you said, Brandon, they haven't been talking about Tampa Bay in a while. They might be the ones to make that noise again at the trade deadline. So we'll see. But yeah. Offense cooling down, injuries are really catching up to that team. And Baltimore is they're probably going to get Dylan Cease to somebody. I see Baltimore win the division, just kind of taking over from here on out.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty big. All right. Now, before we wrap up the show, when it's all said and done, what are our big predictions? What's one prediction you guys have for the trade deadline coming next August 1st? So, for instance, do you guys think the Mets are going to all said and done? Because it's not really set in stone yet. Are the Mets going to be sellers, or are they going to stay invested in the 2023 season?
The Mets?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Listen, they gotta, dude. The amount of money on this team, they can't just expect we gotta blow it up. We went all in for 1 year. I guess it sucked. What are we gonna do? I don't think Scherzer and Verlander are gonna go. I think one of them's gonna go. I think one of them's gonna stay. and they'll just play it by ear. I wouldn't be surprised if Starling Marte goes.
Mark Hanna, Tommy Pham.
Jeff McNeil.
What?
Okay. I kind of have a theory. I don't know the guy. I'm sure he's a good dude. Well, actually,
He just hit 326 last year. He was the batting champion.
Yeah, and this year he's hitting like what, 244?
250, 247.
He's that high?
It's definitely a drop still.
Everyone had a bad year, you know. They just had a bad year, you know.
I don't know if he's the best locker room guy.
Says who?
Says me.
You're in the
Listen,
you're in the Mets. You're in the Mets clubhouse. You're in the Mets clubhouse every day.
Between him and Lindor, and then him and Lindor, the whole new car thing for being the batting title. And you've kind of heard he's had a temper and whatnot. Like, I don't know.
Well, Lindor should give McNeil the car. That's what happened.
Oh, he definitely should.
That's
Don't
the
say
deal.
something and then not do it.
It's like say like, oh, I got you for wings, and then you say, oh, like, oh, you got the check, okay.
Yeah, listen, I'm not arguing against it. Maybe it's more of a Lindor thing or whatnot, but he's Francisco Lindor. You're Jeff McNeil. He's had like 1.5 really good seasons.
Okay. Well, McNeil's been good.
And he's got control and whatnot. Like, listen, all I'm saying is if I'm the New York Mets and I could get Jonathan India and play him at second and move on from Jeff McNeil, I'd be crazy not to. Just
I don't know.
saying.
They did sign him to a 4-year extension last year. 4 years, $50 million. He was kind of, embedded in the organization. You want to try to you want to talk about keeping players like the Derek Jeter or the players that end in a. No, what I mean is you want these players to end in a Mets uniform. Jeff McNeil is one of those guys. Or Pete Alonso. I'm saying they're one of the guys that can easily, fit that mold. Now you tell me you want to trade him? Well, okay, let me ask you. Let me hear it.
Brett Beatty is a young player. He's playing third base. He's got a rifle for an arm. He's going to be their third baseman for the future, right? Francisco Lindor is playing shortstop. So what happens when shortstops typically get older? They move to where? Third base, right? So when Francisco Lindor starts getting up there in age, where's he going to go? Probably second base. So if I have 4 years of Jeff McNeil right now, why wouldn't I move on from him and start moving that up?
Okay.
If you could get somebody like a Jonathan India or whatnot, or bring in somebody else, why not do it? I get it. It's selling low, but I also think you kind of got to think long-term and short-term. Brandon Nimmo, I think, is their most movable asset right now, aside from Lindor, who they're not going to trade. And they're not going to do that. They'd be crazy to. I don't know what you'd get for Starling Marte. Mark Hanna is average, but like consistently average. Like he's not a high peak, low valley guy. He's consistent. So if you're going to move somebody, I kind of feel like McNeil is the odd man out. Alonso is too important to the New York Mets. You can't trade him. Jeff McNeil, I don't think anybody's going to be wearing black and crying with a candlelight vigil outside Citi Field. Nick, your take.
Yeah. I totally get it too. I mean, look, he's also 31 years old, man. He's 31. So I mean, look, was last year the peak? You know what I mean? Like, he won the Battin title, 326. He's career-wise solid, contact guy, hits for average, man. I mean, like, let's say the Mets go the sell direction a little bit. They sell one of Verlander and Scherzer. I really don't think McNeil's a crazy take to get traded. I could sell his stock is still high. And it kind of reminds me of DJ LeMahieu a little bit with the Yankees. Like we signed him to a really long-term deal. I think DJ's peaked already. You know what I mean? So, like, it could be the same with McNeil too, man. I mean, it's not really crazy to trade him while you can. Get someone from before he turns 35 years old, 34 years old. Okay. He's not playing to, his younger days, his Battin champion days. So he could definitely be moved at the deadline. I could see it. Maybe not this deadline, maybe a year or two from now. But yeah, Lindor's not getting any younger either. So those two contracts kind of coincide, and Lindor could be playing second base before we know it. So it's not crazy to me to say McNeil get traded down the line.
I do just want to make one amendment. I kind of crapped on him too much. He's hitting 251. 90 hits on the season.
He's not hitting 244. He's hitting 251.
yeah, he's a little better than I give him credit for. OPS plus of 83. League average is 100. We know that. Not great. Not great. 652 OPS. Not great. And I get, once again, OB's selling low, but if you're trying to think long term or next year or whatnot, I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes. That's all I'm saying. I'm just talking about assets.
I have a little.
Cookie Carrasco. Oh, come on.
I have a little Mets prediction for this trade deadline.
Let's hear it.
So Verlander stays. That's one. But then I think Scherzer, man. I don't know. I'm thinking Scherzer, Diamondbacks reunion, maybe. I feel like that could be a little interesting now.
If they're giving up a good prospect for, but the thing is, the Mets are definitely going to have to eat some of that capital, though. If not most of it.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he's making more than entire teams. Isn't he making more than the Diamondbacks at one point in this season?
Yeah.
Didn't I see that somewhere?
I was saying, because he was a Diamondback way back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So,
way back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. It could be fun to see, him don in the Diamondbacks uniform once again. Could be a cool storybook type, not ending, but a good story overall for Major League Baseball. Just an idea. That'd be a filthy team. Zach Gallen.
Well, it was. I gotta say, it was fun while it lasted. I enjoyed watching Mac. If he does get traded, who knows? They could both stay. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen Verlander yet. I don't see the point of trading Verlander now. I think it's stupid. You just signed the guy in the offseason.
You signed him
for 2 years. Just
Obviously, the Mets wanted him. He wants to stay. That right there alone, you can't really beat that. I mean, he wants to build a championship contender and Flushing. Let him rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's Verlander who goes to Arizona and reunites with the Houston pitching coach.
Oh, that's a good one. That would be cool.
I don't know. I would definitely keep an eye out for the Diamondbacks and Reds if I'm a Mets fan.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see. We shall see. But any other predictions before we wrap up?
Shohei Ohtani, if he gets traded, I don't think he's going to get traded. I've kind of come back around. If he gets traded, he's going to be a Miami Marlin.
That would be cool.
Okay.
That would be sick.
Fun. Maybe Juan Soto down in Tampa. There was a report that came out today that the Padres are no longer taking calls on Blake Snell or Josh Hader.
Yeah. So I think that alone kind of maybe
Juan Soto wasn't in that headline, was he?
No, he wasn't. It was just Snell and Hader. But I feel like I feel like they're gonna go for it.
Padres. I think so. 6 games out.
Yeah, I think they gotta go for it. The money they're spending the all season, they just had to gotta go for it.
Okay. All right. That's good. All right, I guess that's basically it. Anything else? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Who do you think the Yankees are going to bring in? What's their biggest move? Let's talk about the Mets.
I think we touched on it a little bit before, Bellinger. I think on my Christmas list, that's all I really want. I mean, like, the pitching's there. Cole, Rodon. I mean, on paper-wise. Cole, Rodon. Clark Schmidt. Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't be against another starting pitcher and maybe another bullpen piece. I mean, Yankees have the best bullpen in the league. Loaizago's coming back soon. Not really much to do. I mean, the offense needs a lot of work done, but like I said earlier, all season long, I've been saying it, Bellinger. Yeah, I mean, like we said, catcher is like whatever. We really don't need to trade for catcher. So realistically, my shopping list: outfielder, obviously left field, starting pitcher. It doesn't have to be a crazy name either. It doesn't need to be Ohtani. It doesn't need to be Blake Snell. Maybe like Drew Smiley or somebody. A nice SP4, SP3. Maybe he can tag along with Bellinger to the Bronx. And a nice bullpen piece never hurts anybody. They can finally get rid of Albert Abreu or when Weiser comes back, they can send him down. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. They don't have to go too crazy.
All right. Sounds good.
What if the Yankees trade Gleyber Torres and Domingo Germán in some deals? Maybe Gleyber goes back home to the Cubs. You send Domingo Germán to the Reds to be like that 5-6 in the rotation, and you get Jonathan India as a flyer to be second base.
That I'm not against, and
just because Gleyber, they got to move on from.
You think so?
I think they think so. The poor kid plays a different spot in the lineup every day.
Yeah,
they've tried him at short. They didn't like him there. If India's played short and second before,
I know he's not. I know he's not the best defensively, but I don't know. Gleyber's bat wise, I mean, on a dry offense this season, he's been one of the Yankees' best hitters over the course of the last few weeks.
Am I just not paying attention to him? Is that what this is?
Torres has been having a nice stretch last couple of weeks, but
he's actually been better than Jonathan India. I've redacted my previous team.
Yeah, a lot of people want to trade Gleyber. I don't know what it is with that. When he heats up, no one says anything about him. And then when he's, he makes an error, he's not the best defensively, obviously. We look for defense. You're not looking at Gleyber Torres. But, I mean, God, his bat in this lineup has kind of been somewhat of a godsend, a little refresher. I think they got to hold on to him, He's homegrown. Obviously, got him the Aroldis Chapman trade. But, he's young. He's a young second baseman with a great bat. I don't know much more offensive-minded second basemen that are pretty much better on the block than Gleyber Torres. I feel like he's got to roll with him. Peraza at third, Volpe at short, Rizzo at first. I dig it. I feel like that could be a solid infield in the new Sean Casey hitting coach era. So, I mean, I want to hold on to Gleyber. That's my take on it. Unless, we could get an easy upgrade at 2B. I don't know if India is that guy. But
yeah, I take back what I said.
I think Yankees got to hold on to Gleyber. There's really no one else that I know that wants to play second base that's remotely better.
Twins and Marlins just made a trade.
Oh.
Ready for this one? Oh, it's a blockbuster. It's not.
Let's hear it.
Dylan Floro going to the Twins and Jorge Lopez going to the Marlins. Both of them are relievers.
All right, I think that wraps up the show.
I was waiting for that.
Breaking news, everyone. Luis Arias for Pablo Lopez.
Yeah, remember that, huh?
Yeah. Talking about Twins Marlins trade.
Brandon, remember when one of our buddies was trying to convince me preseason Jeff McNeil was a better contactor than Luis Arias?
Oh,
yes, I do remember. I remember that pretty. I remember that pretty vividly.
Just getting dragged to the mud this episode.
Wow,
dude, I like the flying squirrel. I've always liked him on the Mets. Dude, he comes up to Def Leppard. That's his walk-up music. I love the guy.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, he's a movable asset.
Nah, for sure.
Maybe he's a locker room cancer. I don't know. Brandon, your face when I said that. When you said "says who," I said "said me."
Shut up.
You guys cracked me up.
I did. What do you want me to do?
On that note, okay, so
yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Be sure to check out our revamped website, www.easternobserver.com, for the latest news in the world of baseball and so much more. We thank you for joining us on another edition of Battin and Chattin. For my co-host Niklaus Feil, Denis Tuohy, and the entire Blackjack Media Group team, I'm Brandon Natale saying so long, and we'll see you next time.
See you later, everybody.
Take it easy.